happening, gang? Back live in the Secret Stash. I'm your host, Jesse Ibanez, co-founder of the Greenhouse Group. We're helping folks get into and out of homes right down here in the heart of San Diego. If you want a little bit more about what we do to help you through, go down to the Greenhouse Group, Inc.com, and check out some of these classes we've been talking about. I think we pitched the home buyer class, Jer. It's /HBC. And then the home seller class at the last segment, which is /HSC. Talking today about this year in review with my man Jeremy Beck, mortgage planner at the Greenhouse Group. And we're trying to distill down the 7 most important lessons we learned from looking at 2015 and how we can apply some of those lessons to make sure we have a successful 2016 campaign. So if you missed any part of the show, you're welcome to go over to secretstashradio.com and go back and look at some of our lessons. We talked about seasons, when you're trying to time for a buyer or seller, trying to time actually the mortgage market, which is a great insight from Jeremy, how strong the values have been. And you're going to want to look at the $149,000 gain we talked about over the last 2 years. If waiting is a good option for folks who are maybe sitting on the fence right now, how strong our local economy is. Is this a boom? Is this a bubble? Or is this just a normal recovery? And some local stats are going to be very important for you. Which leads me to, which I think is the most staggering lesson that I learned in 2015, which is the rents. Man alive. The rents are at a 7-year high right now. What do you know about rents right now, local Jeremy?
Only that they keep going up, man. I have a property, and every time we relist it for an unbelievable amount of money. I think we'll never get it, and people line up to come see it. It's crazy.
But do you know why that is, though?
In terms of the economy, or in terms of
just saying in general, what's fueling that?
I mean, I certainly have some guesses. One of the things, of course, is housing prices. As they continue to go up, more people make this decision, well, I'll just rent again and wait for them to come down or whatever it is. I think people are a little hesitant of the bubble. We covered that. They think, hey, maybe this is another bubble. I don't want to make the mistake maybe my parents did or my brother did or whatever. But people are move into rents because they think it's their best decision financially, and without doing real research that you would probably do maybe if you were a home buyer.
Man, you nailed it. I mean, the truth is, and I don't know, those two things may be arbitrary from person to person about whether they think the prices are too high, or whether you could just as easily make an argument to say that this is actually a sustainable thing, not a bubble. And some of the pundits, and we've talked about this in previous shows, seem to think it's going to be a pretty boring market from here to about 2019.
Right.
Steady growth. We might see a little fluctuation here and there, not just with the seasonality, which we talked about earlier in the show, but also maybe with the changing rate environment, some other macroeconomics, which could come into play over the next, 12 to 24 months. But overall, it's going to be very steady, very boring growth. So gone are those days, thankfully, of the 18 to 20% run-ups in 18 months. Which created a very unstable feeling, right? That you were either like buying a stock, you were either on your way up or you got out of the market entirely. Whereas now might be the time to really take a look at that. If either of those are true or not true, meaning increased prices or whether it's a bubble, let's just punt on both of those. The number one reason why rents will continue to climb is because rental vacancy rates are at a 30-year low.
Wow.
3 to the 0.
That's amazing.
Vacancy rates are at a 30-year low. And if you look, you're seeing evidence of this everywhere. We're starting to see a lot more construction again around the county. Some of the hot spots, there's cranes popping up all over it's not quite 2006 style where your downtown skyline was just one big crane, but you're starting to see a lot of different projects pop up in the heart of San Diego. There's starting to be some infilling going on, development, they're swinging hammers again, but most of those projects are apartments.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where the money's at right now. And I'm not going to get into the whole concept about how people sue the builders and there's that 10-year window and stuff for lawsuits, which people would rather just eschew and go right to just renting doors. But man, that is staggering. So rents are at a 7-year high and rental vacancies are at a 30-year low. And it looks like those numbers are going to continue to climb.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they with low vacancy rates?
So buyers, if you are listening to this message right now, don't trip. The man who knows something knows that he knows nothing at all, right? I don't know who said that, but
That was me.
That was you. Thank you, Jer.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is, man, I mean, if you look at the numbers, it'll tell you that this is not a bubble. Okay, this is just a recovery. And we've got a lot of micro and macro elements that seem to support that case, which means waiting right now, which seems to be a theme right now from earlier segments, is not on your side. Prices are going to continue to rise because of the lack in inventory. It is a basic supply and demand. Eco 101 from college, right? So if there was one main lesson from 2015 we can apply for 26, I even call this a red flag, is that rents are not your friend, my friend. I don't know why we had to go Latin accent on that, but it worked, didn't it?
It was a good R. Good rolled R.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You have to roll your R with anything you say from here on out.
My favorite lesson for 2015 is almost a reassurance that the way we're doing things over there at the GHG is right and is successful, and we're seeing the signs of that success. Let me give you an example. Jess, when we started scheming on this thing, 12, 13, 14 years ago, whatever that was, when we decided that we were going to create the Greenhouse Group in its current form, one of the main conversations we were having is how we were going to interact with our clients and how that might be different than the traditional model. The evidence is making this clear. When I meet with a client, I do a mortgage planning consultation first. We do a proper pre-approval without skipping steps. We have a 100% success rate over the last 2 years of that person consummating a loan with all other factors being the same. So, for example, as long as the appraisal didn't fail or the seller backed out or something else happened, in terms of buying and refinancing, a 100% success rate that the pre-approval we doled out was true and accurate.
Wow.
That's an amazing thing to me. What that means for people who have the security and of wanting to know that they actually can buy. The idea that I can sit down with somebody right now and 6 months from now get them in a position to be ready to buy their next home, their first home, or heck, even get them in a better position to restructure their financing. The fact that that is a solid, bulletproof plan is an amazing thing to me, because the truth is that I know that's not happening out there that much.
There's a couple who's listening to you right now who is ready to start this process with you. And if you're ready to start the process, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you first?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy as a phone call, 858-863-0262. That's my direct line. You can leave a message there. You can also email me at jeremy@greenmeansgrow.com. That's Jeremy @greenmeansgrow.com. Those are really easy ways to just get a quick phone call in, see where you stand, and if we might be able to help.
And I'll add onto that if maybe that's not where you're at yet, you're not quite ready yet, but one of these 7 biggest lessons that we learned in 2015 resonated with you, and you want to get a little bit more information about how you fit in to some of these numbers, some of these, concepts that we're talking about, in so far that you can actually have a successful 2016 campaign, you might want to pay attention to those 2 classes we talked about as well. We hold each one of them monthly, every other Wednesday, and the first one is the home buyer class, and the second one is the home seller class. So you can go to thegreenhousegroupinc.com/HBC for the buyer class and /HSC for the seller class. We'd love to get you in. It's a limited, it's a limited amount of seats available because it's a nice little intimate room. We don't blow it out and do like a big warehouse kind of thing so that people can make sure they get their questions asked. And it's it's not a how-to, it's a what not to do, which is a critical point. And I think a great tag on to why we want to look at things not only in the future pace for goals for 2016, but also the mistakes that you can learn and distill from so you don't make those mistakes again. Would you not agree?
Most definitely.
Yeah, you betcha. All right, gang. Well, that's going to do it. So I'll tell you what, I want to thank you very much for another great year of radio here on ESPN. We're going to be back this Tuesday coming up and 10 a.m. with a brand new show format. We're going to be talking about Truth Radio. Same game, a little bit different packaging, and you can count on us to make sure that we're bringing the best information that we've got local to you right here live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. I want to thank Engineer Steve for a fantastic year, my friend, behind the booth, blowing kisses to me and all. Producer Adrian for always keeping it fun. And our number one guest for 2015, Jeremy Beck. Appreciate you coming in.
All right, man. It's fun to be here.
Leaving
Thanks for
us
having me.
a little better than how we found you, which, of course, is our game right here every Tuesday at 10 a.m. So thank you, Stash Nation. Have a wonderful and safe holiday, and we'll see you back here first part of the new year. Have fun.